and welcome to Hadoop Exam Learning Resources. In this session, we are going to cover the Hadoop security. This is very initial session regarding Hadoop security, in which we will cover the introduction to the Kerberos process, how Kerberos process works. So why Kerberos? Because Hadoop uses for authorizing the user or as a to the client to access its resources is using the Kerberos. It authorizes the user, so that's why it is mandatory to understand the Kerberos process to implement the Hadoop security. However, this particular session is not very specific to Hadoop. This is very common session for wherever the Kerberos security processes applies. So you can, even if you are not using the Kerberos security in your Hadoop framework and somewhere else you are using the Kerberos security, then also it's good to understand this Kerberos process in detail. So let me start with the Kerberos process. Sorry, by cleaning out the screen. Okay, so I can draw here. Okay, so why Kerberos authentication is needed? Okay, so this is your HDFS. Okay, I would just draw a single box here, or file system, or you can say file system. As a client, you want to directly access this HDFS file system, and to authorize just username and password is used. Correct. So anybody in between can interpret your network. Any culprit guys can come in between and access your identity or decrypt your password or anything. So anything vulnerable things can happen with when you are accessing, and by getting the username and password it can delete your resources, like big files which you have collected from somewhere, which cannot be reproduced or cannot be possible, or any other malicious activity can be done by this user, which interprets your, like in between comes and get your user ID and password, or any other things can be happen with this, any malicious activity he can do. So to avoid such type of issue, there is a Hadoop security is needed, and Hadoop security is implemented using the Kerberos. You can read little bit about why Kerberos name is there, like, and kind of thing. This is MIT created this algorithm, this Kerberos authentication. So this Kerberos authentication process is used. So let me describe that. And this Kerberos authentication process is not very simple. It's a little bit complicated process. I'll try to simplify as much as possible so that you can understand this Kerberos process in detail. Okay, so let me go through first with the Kerberos and basic things which are needed. So what are needed to understand the uh, important point to remember regarding Kerberos security? So there are mainly three entities involved. First, client itself. So you can consider yourself as a client. You are trying to access this. So this is first entity. Second entity, the resources which you want to access. This is our HDFS file system. So I would say file server here. This is second entity, and third entity is KDC, Kerberos data center, or is something is called, and this is the third entity. And this KDC is made of two things. Okay, I'll tell you what exactly this two things. First is authentication service, which authorize the user, and the second one is the ticket granting server. So by name you can understand ticket granting service. This grants the tickets to access the resources. Okay, we'll go in detail about this. So these are the three entities mainly involved with overall Kerberos authentication process. So as a client, you want to access this resources, okay, from here. So before doing accessing this resource, you always have to go to the KDC. Okay, so how? So now the second thing, what other three things are there? There are three keys are involved in this. Three secret keys, you can say. This is called first keys, which reside with the client. As a client, you always know this key, that is called KC. I'll give the name client key. Okay, Casey, this is secret key. You can assume this is password, something, some kind of password. Exactly not password, but you can assume this is your password. Second is key is the KF, I would say, file server key. That is second key resides here, KF. Third key itself of KDC's key. This reside with this KDC. So I would just get KDC. This is key. Now the important point here is this KDC resides here. KF known by only the file server and KC is known by the client only. So all these three keys never ever travel over the networks. That is the important point here. These keys will never ever travel over the network. Okay, so why? Because other than KDC there are KC and KF. These three, all three keys always stay with this KDC as well. Okay, so you know, like client contains the KC, this secret key, file server contains the file secret key, file server secret key, and KDC contains all three keys. One is very well only known to the KDC, and KC client key and CAF. So these keys never ever travel over the network. Wherever they are needed, they are already residing on it. Other than these three keys, there are two session keys, and these two session keys will be generated during the process. That is, I would say, so just name by session key S1 and S2. Two session key would be generated during the process, and these session keys are very specific to session and will alive only for 8 hours. Once they are generated, they will remain for 8 hours, and this session key will travel over the network. Obviously they have to travel over the network, and data, which is communication, happen between client and KDC and client and file server, would encrypt it by this session keys. We will, during the understanding the process, we will understand. So just remember, client communicates with the KDC using the S1 session key, and data encrypted by the S1 session key. And here the communication between client and file server, actual resource when access, encrypted by the S2 key. So just remember, there are three entities involved, three keys, KDC, KC and KF. This is file server key, this is client key, and two session key for the communication between the this client and KDC and client and file server. So now let's move to the how actual process works. So just remember this keys and three secret keys, two session keys and three entities. Okay, so let's start with this process. Now I'll again draw the same image to show you the, okay, just a minute. Okay, so this is your client machine C1. This is the file server HDFS, you can see, or file server. This is KDC. Okay, this has two components. One is authentication service, another is ticket granting service, TGS, and authentication service. Okay, so now first step, client, you want to access the file server in the network, but you are not authenticated user. You want to access, as a client, you want to access this file server HDFS data. So whatever file you want to access on this server, but you are not authorized to directly access this. So what you will do first, whenever you want to access this resources, you have to authorize yourself to access this resource. So you will send a request to get the ticket granting ticket for KDC. So what you will do, you have KC, okay, KC. So you send a request, sorry, you will send a request. This is first step, to get the ticket granting ticket, give me the master ticket so I can request another ticket. So one master ticket would be given to this client. So whenever you send a request, like your request would be encrypted by KC secret key, your client secret key, nobody else knows this. So this key is not traveling, your request is encrypted by this KC client key. Okay, when it reaches over here, then KDC has this all three keys, correct? KC, KF and KDC, you know. So KDC will first go to, like, username is also passed in their database and check this is the user u1 whatever, and corresponding its key is KC. So it able to decrypt your request using the key, because KC has not traveled over the network, but it has this KC. So it decrypt and authorize that in database, like this is the valid user because I already have this entry in my database. So this entry has to be there in the KDC database. Like this is central repository. You can just understand this is a central repository where user ID and all the keys and resources and all the keys pre-configured already there in this. So it will says yes, this user is proper user and I can decrypt it request what exactly is asking. KDC checks its database whether you are a real user or not and find the secret key to decrypt the your message. Now KDC will create a TGT, ticket granting ticket. Now this TGT would be created by the KDC, and this TGT is encrypted by the KDC key. Now this TGT would be encrypted by the KDC. Okay, so this TGT would be encrypted and sent back to this user as a to the client. Okay, so this key would be sent to you. So this is the ticket, TGT, ticket granting ticket. This is master ticket, okay, to request another ticket, and this is encrypted by the KDC. The best thing you remember, like this ticket is nowhere needed to decrypt here, correct? Now you have master ticket with this. The client have already this master. Now client has master ticket with this TGT to get the further tickets to actually get the resources, and this key is not needed to decrypt here. This will remain as an encrypted as it is here. So now KDC will create, sorry, so here I'm not only TGT is created plus one session key would also be created here S1, and this is bundled together, and then this TGT plus S1 is encrypted by KDC, okay, and send back to the TGT plus S1. Both senders would be sent over here. Okay, now at client side this bundle will be decrypted using the client key. Sorry, here I'm little bit missing again, like that's what I'm saying. This is a little bit complicated process. TGT is encrypted by KDC and this whole package is encrypted by the client key. Okay, so sorry here. So here the KDC create TGT plus S1 and bundle it and encrypt with the client key. TGT is encrypted by the KDC. Okay, this key and whole bundle is encrypted by the KC client key. And when it send back to this bundle over here, as client has key to decrypt this, so TGT would never be decrypted over here, but S1 would be decrypted and get back given to the KC. So this S1 is valid only for 8 hours as we have mentioned previously, and will be used for communication between KDC and client. Now KDC have sent this now, and this master ticket TGT has with the client. Now client will have to request the server ticket. Now client want to access this resource file server. So now client has master ticket TGT. So what it says to KDC, it requests to the KDC to give me the ticket so I can access the file server. So what exactly client do? Client create one authenticator object. Sorry, here little bit missing. Client will create one authenticator object. This is your authenticator object. Client will create one authenticator object plus TGT plus uh, request for plus request. Okay, so these three things will be bundled together and encrypted by session key S1. Okay, once this session key is there, so and the session key will definitely travel over the network, we have seen, like, which is already sent to the client side. So now these three things, authenticator object, TGT, this is master ticket, this is still encrypted, it would not be decrypted at client side, and request would be sent back to the KDC, and KDC will check this TGT has not been touched by anybody over the network or by the client itself. So that is this ticket still valid, and it will check the authenticator object and request what exactly it want. So now at KDC side, bundle has been checked. TGT was not touched, not affected. Using the session key, it will decrypt the authenticator object and verify the client. That's great. Okay, this well authenticated user, and see that user need access to the file server. So, and while reading the request, it can understand it required the ticket for accessing the file server. Now at KDC will create a service ticket. Now using ticket granting service, it will create a service ticket, ST I would say, encrypted by the server key. That is important. This ticket would be encrypted by service ticket KF, which is owned by only the file server. This file server only own this, nobody else own it. KDC and file server, and client even don't know about this. And another session key would be S2 would be created, and bundle now contains service ticket plus session key S2. This bundle is encrypted by the previous session key S1 and sent back to the client. Now this bundle will come to the client. So this is service ticket plus S2 and encrypted by S1. So client already have S1, so it will decrypt this. Service ticket cannot be decrypted because this is encrypted by KF, and S2 the session key to communication between client and file servers. Now at client side, bundle will be decrypted using the session key S1. Service ticket cannot be decrypted by the client side, as we have already discussed, and session key S2 second one will be used communication between client and server. Now client has the ticket to request the file server. So what client creates now, another bundle after that is service ticket ST plus authenticator object plus service session key S2, and send the bundle to the file server over here. Now because this all process KDC side has done, now it wants to authorize itself with the resource, that is file server. Okay, so now sorry, we have sorry just okay, now we have file server, and this bundle has been sent to the file server. Now ST service ticket can be decrypted by only KF secret key. So server will check service ticket is encrypted by the server key and not impacted and not touched. So that's again great. It will authenticate the user and send the acknowledgement back to the client. Okay, I'm authorizing you to access my resources. This resources, and so this S2 now resides here and S2 here as well. So whatever information now would be action in between, like this is now authorized user, so encrypted by the S2 key. S2 here and S2 here, so both can encrypt and decrypt the. So now client and server are authenticated. Whenever the communication happens between client and server will always be encrypted using the session key S2. So this is the way this Kerberos authentication process works. So this is very important to understand the Hadoop security. So thanks for listening regarding Kerberos introductions. What I would suggest, please let me clean out the screen. Please subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe this YouTube channel, because when we keep adding new videos as simplified way as possible we can do, so you can understand easily each and every topic regarding the big data domain or cloud domain and virtualization domain. So this is the website. Let me open here itself, so you can, this is hadoopexam.com is our website. So here we provide various products like related to big data, Hadoop training as well. So full length training you can watch over here. So we have as of now 32 modules in this training. So these are all 32 modules listed related to Hadoop introduction to, it's like beginners to the advanced module, yarn and everything. Yet another resource negotiator we covered. And other than that, we provide H-based data science certification solution, Amazon Web Service solutions, SaaS certification solutions, Salesforce certification solutions, etc. So please subscribe this YouTube channel so you can get updated whenever we add new video in this. So keep visiting hadoopexam.com. Thanks for listening.